In Star Wars, you rarely need a character to explain the stakes of a battle. The ships provide the context. Before a single laser is fired, a spacecraft's shape communicates exactly who built it, its function, and its side in the war. Consider the Millennium Falcon. It is a modified cargo freighter built for hauling, rather than a sleek military pursuit craft. With its offset cockpit, exposed machinery, and heavily patched asymmetric hull, the design immediately establishes the practical, rule-breaking life of a smuggler. Contrast that rugged freighter with the X-Wing. It features 4 engines and wings that split open into a distinct X shape. It is a balanced, versatile craft, built for dogfighting, attack runs, and escorts, the exact kind of multi-role fighter a smaller rebellion requires to survive. When the mission requires a specialized job, the shapes change completely.
The Y-wing bomber strips away its armor to expose heavy, rugged machinery, functioning as a tough workhorse for difficult attack runs. On the opposite end of the spectrum, the A-wing compresses its frame into a sleek, compact arrowhead, built purely for blistering speed and interception. Then there is the B-wing, featuring a long vertical body and an off-center cockpit. It sacrifices traditional aesthetic elegance entirely to accommodate heavy assault weapons. The strange, imbalanced layout is entirely focused on a specific mission. Grouping these ships together reveals a clear visual identity. The Rebellion relies on a fleet of distinct, scrappy silhouettes. Their design language points to an alliance built on individualized survival and specialized engineering, rather than standardized military might. The Galactic Empire takes the exact opposite approach. The standard TIE fighter features a simple central cockpit, bracketed by 2 large, flat solar panels. We rarely see them alone. They swarm in perfect formation, projecting a system that values mass production and raw numbers over individual pilot survival. When the Empire needs a pursuit craft, they alter that base geometry. The TIE Interceptor keeps the central pod, but replaces the flat panels with sharp, dagger-like pointed wings. Those sharp angles visually communicate aggressive speed without requiring any explanation of the engine specifications. For heavy strikes, the Empire deploys the TIE Bomber. It drops the sleekness of an interceptor for a bulky twin-pod hull. One side holds the pilot, while the other clearly indicates a specialized, heavy payload. Every variation of the Imperial Starfighter relies on cold, repeating geometric shapes. The Empire does not build personalized ships. They build machines designed to project an identity rooted in scale, conformity, and fear. That design philosophy scales all the way up to their capital ships. The Imperial Star Destroyer relies on a massive, triangular wedge shape. It operates as a mobile military base, a carrier, and a command center, but its primary function is visual intimidation. This chart plots standard ships against the Super Star Destroyer, stretching the wedge to dwarf normal capital ships. Expanding the scale adds the moon-sized Death Star. Presenting simple spherical geometry elevates their strategy to abstract, impossible terror. Against that imposing scale, the Rebel fleet requires vessels with completely different priorities. The Blockade Runner utilizes a fast, clean hammerhead design, backed by a massive cluster of engines. It reads immediately as an urgent diplomatic courier, rather than a heavy offensive warship. When the Rebels do field large capital ships, they deploy Mon Calamari Cruisers. Instead of sharp, aggressive wedges, these vessels feature large, rounded, organic-looking holes, visually communicating their origins as adapted civilian vessels pressed into military service. The contrast is stark. The Empire uses sharp geometry and extreme scale for domination. Rebels rely on rounded shapes to maintain an identity of ingenuity. Looking backward in the timeline, the galaxy's design language changes entirely. The Naboo N-1 starfighter features a sleek, long-nosed body covered in polished yellow and silver metal. It represents a pristine, ceremonial era before the galaxy descended into widespread war. During that same era, the Jedi Starfighter utilizes a compact, minimal wedge shape. Sometimes requiring an external hyperspace ring for long travel, the minimal frame reflects an elite, highly mobile peacekeeping force rather than a massive military presence. That piece eventually breaks down, and the Republic gunship signals a shift in the galaxy. With its wide body, side doors sliding open to reveal a troop bay, the design firmly establishes a functional, heavy-lifting military focus. At the capital ship level, the Venator-class Star Destroyer introduces the familiar wedge shape, but retains bright red markings and an open carrier deck. It serves as the crucial visual bridge connecting the Republic's colorful, troop-focused military to the cold Imperial fleet that eventually replaces it. The ARC-170 Heavy Starfighter functions the same way. Its multi-crew layout, broad wings, and exposed engines provide the clear ancestral design language for the Rebel X-Wings that follow. These prequel-era ships use cleaner colors and specialized transport shapes to visually narrate a tragic historical transition, showing exactly how a vibrant republic slowly morphed into a militarized empire. Away from the main factions, individual craft play by their own rules. The Firespray Gunship, famously piloted by Boba Fett, rests flat on the ground but takes off to adopt a bizarre vertical flight profile. That jarring, unconventional layout establishes an intimidating, deeply personal identity suited for a bounty hunter. Similarly, the Razor Crest relies on a worn metal hull, twin engines, and visible cargo space. It is defined not as a sleek military weapon, but as a durable, lived-in working ship built for the rugged frontier. Decades later, the sequel era builds directly on the established rules. The First Order Star Destroyer takes the classic Imperial wedge and aggressively updates it, applying a polished, modern, and colder aesthetic to project renewed authority. The Resistance response is the heavy bomber. Its incredibly tall, slow-moving shape emphasizes extreme vulnerability. It sacrifices dogfighting agility to carry a massive payload, highlighting absolute dedication to a difficult mission. Whether you are looking at the lawless frontier or a modernized galactic conflict, the ship designs continually reflect a clear dynamic, a rugged struggle against polished, unyielding authority. Looking at the entire fleet across all these eras, a universal lexicon of shape emerges. Worn, asymmetrical, and organic lines consistently signal improvisation, survival, and rebellion. This taxonomy grid illustrates the divide, placing sharp geometric angles and uniform designs in direct opposition. Those repeating rigid shapes universally signal mass production, cold logic, and oppression. Expanding the grid adds a third category for the historical and the personal. The pristine, elegant lines of the Republic sit alongside the armored, rugged profiles of independent bounty hunters, completing the visual taxonomy of the galaxy. Star Wars ships endure as cultural icons because their shapes are intrinsic to the storytelling. Every single silhouette operates as a standalone narrative tool. Long before a single character opens their mouth, the ship has already told you exactly what world you are in.